My pencil. I found one.
Okay, so the first one we got is arithmetic, okay? And we already talked about this, but arithmetic, I guess to formally define it, it's like a branch of math, right? So when we talk about math, we're talking about like just a general thing, right? But there's little like I guess like a sub um what's the word? There's other branches, in other words, right? So when we're talking about arithmetic, then we can talk about algebra and geometry. All of that is math, right? So one of those branches is arithmetic, and that's the first thing that we know that we learn, which is manipulation of numbers and manipulating them by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Okay. So that's the first definition. It's just a branch of math where we manipulate numbers. Okay. Okay, so make sure we got that written down.
Arithmetic is what now?
So it's a branch of math. Let me just go ahead and put in the chat as well. It's a branch of math where we manipulate numbers. Branch of math where we manipulate numbers. That's arithmetic. Okay. And by manipulation, we're talking about multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. Okay. So in case you're not sure what do we mean by manipulation. Okay? The second one, and if you guys remember, we did this last year. Okay, we did this whole thing last year. Integers. What do integers mean?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, oh gosh. Okay, hold on.
Oh no, don't choose Lily.
try to give it a shot. So remember we were talking.
Negatives.
Right. That's good. So remember we have different types of numbers, right? We have our counting numbers, which are all our positives, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when we add a 0, we call that whole numbers. And then integers are when we add our negatives.
Oh, I
right?
remember.
So remember,
integers. I was close. I was that.
Integers include negative numbers, positive numbers, and 0. Okay, so 0, it's kind of its own thing. It's not positive, it's not negative. Remember that 0 is just a way to represent nothingness, right? Like the space where my heart is supposed to be, nothingness.
Oh.
Wow.
Did that hit? No?
Yeah.
Okay, no. All right.
Yeah. Very kind of different.
So negative numbers, positive numbers, and 0. Okay. Last two, where we're talking about sum, what does that mean?
Together, all together.
Sure, all together, right? So when we're adding two numbers, we're looking for the sum. So the sum is the answer to an addition problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Answer to an addition problem, right? And that becomes
important. I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, and that becomes exactly, right? So you need to make sure you're remembering that stuff. And this is important, right? Because when we're looking at word problems or anything like that, and we say, find the sum of these two things, right? And then that means automatically that we're gonna have to add, okay? And difference is the opposite of that, which is the answer to a subtraction problem. Okay, so we're good so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me know when we're good so we can move on.
We're good, or I'm good.
Wait, when we go back to school, do we have to bring the same notebooks?
Preferably, sure.
What if I rewrite it in another one?
That's okay, you know.
To be honest with you, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm writing this on my laptop.
Okay, but just know that we're gonna be doing numbers as well, so
Okay.
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 Because yeah, like I mean, I would encourage laptops. That's fine, but you know, we need to write numbers down as well. Okay, so I'm gonna share. You guys can see the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start with some examples. And again, you know, it seems like kind of like you're back in third grade, right? But you know, it's always useful to remember how to add and subtract. Okay, so just start with 42 plus 37. Okay. So I always write down the columns just to make sure that, you know, I'm not confusing anything. But we got 7 plus 2, right? And we have 9. And 4 plus 3, which is 79. So easy, right? So again, the question, why don't we use a calculator, right? Because the question, like the joke was always like, when, especially when I was coming up in school, is that you need to learn this because you're never gonna have a calculator in your hand. But what are we walking around with in our pockets?
Phone.
A phone.
With our phones, and we can easily use a calculator, right? So that argument is gone, right? But why don't we use a calculator? Why do we still learn this stuff without using a calculator?
So it'll be
Because
easier.
it's easy.
You don't have to take up the time to go on your phone or look for a calculator.
Sure. That's one way, right? I mean, technically, like the calculator is a tool, right? Where we use it to make things efficient, right? But one thing is that we first off, we can't use them in tests for like college exams, right? So we need to be able to learn to do that. And just second, you know, like our brain is kind of like a muscle, right? So we always have to be, you know, constantly challenging it. It's like working it out, just like any regular muscle, right? So if we just let something else do the thinking for us, then, you know, like then everything else becomes a lot harder, right? Because it's like we just rely too much on technology instead of ourselves, and you know that can become a problem. So we always got to make sure that we're constantly practicing this. Okay. So next example I got is 29 plus 53. Okay. So again, I separate out the columns. So in the first one, we have 9 plus 3. What does that give us?
12.
12, right? But are we going to write down the 12 down there?
No,
No,
you
it's
carry
not.
the 1.
We're going to carry the
We're
1,
gonna carry the
right?
one.
So 2, and we're going to carry the 1. And now we have 5, 6, 7, 8. 82.
8.
Okay. Pretty easy. Okay. Next one, we got 1, 7, 5, 8, 4, 6, 3, 2. Okay. So with this, we have, you know, we have 4 different sets of digits here. We're going to make sure that they're all under the same thing. But we start with 8 plus 2, right? So 8 plus 2,
10.
that gives us 10.
And
So we write down the 0, we're going to carry the 1. So then 5, 3, and 1,
9.
that's going to be 9. Then we got 7 and 6, which gives us 13. And then we have 4, 5, and 6. So 6,390. Again, very simple. We just got to continue practicing. Okay. Okay, so now we're moving on to subtraction, okay? And what I want you guys to write down is that subtraction is the opposite of addition, right? Subtraction is the opposite of addition. You undo addition problems by subtracting. Okay, so what does that mean then? Like that you undo an addition problem by subtracting. So let's say, for example, and I'm gonna, let me draw out a number line, okay? So let's say we start off at 0, right? And then we add 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, that's where we end up. How do we go back to 0?
By subtracting.
By subtracting, right? So we subtract the 3, then we go back to 0. Okay, so we're gonna go the opposite direction now. Let me change the color. Now we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, back to 0. Okay, so that's what I mean by subtracting. Okay, is the opposite of addition, and so that really becomes important when we're talking about algebra. Okay, because let's say we have an equation x plus 3 equals 2, right? And we're going to work on this later on, right? But let's say we have a problem like that. And what we want to do is that we work backwards, okay? That's what we call it. We work backwards to solve for x, okay? So if we're adding 3 to x, then how are we going to cancel out that 3 so that we can do it to the other side as well? It's the opposite.
Subtract it.
So we're going to subtract 3, right?
By 3.
That becomes 0, right? So x plus 0. But what we do to one side, we do to the other, right? So x minus 3, and that becomes -1, right? So that's how we find our answers in algebra, okay? So we're going to do that a little bit more, maybe the week we come back from school. That's when we're going to start on those equations, okay? But we need to be able to solve equations by doing the opposite of the operation, okay? That's why we learn that addition and subtraction are the opposites of each other, okay? So let's continue on with the examples. And I want to word it like this because sometimes problems are going to be worded like this. Subtract 13 from 85, okay? So when we say subtract 13 from 85, how are we going to set this up?
85 over 13.
Yeah, 85 over 13, right? And the reason why I say this is because people get it confused all the time, right? Because you see 13 in front of the 85, so you automatically want to go like this, right? 13 minus 85, that's wrong, okay? So we got to make sure that we understand what we are reading, okay? So we subtract 13 from 85, right? It's the exact same way. So 5 minus 3, what does that give us?
2.
2, and then 8 minus 1?
7.
7. So our answer right there, 72. Okay. Okay, next we got 81 minus 45. Okay, we write out the columns. We're trying to subtract 5 from 1, right? but the 5 is bigger than the 1. So what do we need to do in that situation?
Take from the 8.
Yeah, we're going to have to borrow from the 8. So that becomes 7. And now this is 11. So 11 minus 5 now gives us
6.
6. And 7 minus 4 is 36. Okay. Last thing, 842 minus 791. Okay. Let's split this up. So 2 minus 1,
1.
that gives us 1. And 4 minus 9, we're going to have to borrow from the 8. That becomes 14. This is 5. And then 7 minus 7
0. So it's 51.
is 0. So the difference is 51. Okay. So again, pretty simple, right? Not stuff that we should know, but we just keep on practicing. Okay. So the homework today, I'm assigning 10 problems. There's going to be 5 addition, 5 subtraction. Okay. We need to make sure that we're showing all of our work to like in this similar way. Okay. To be able to get full credit. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys how we're going to submit that. Okay. Okay. So you guys can see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna post right next to this. We're gonna give you guys a Google slide, and everyone can. You're gonna get a copy of your own. So make sure that you can edit that and do whatever you want with it. But you're gonna get a copy of the Google Slides, and then you're gonna get the problems separately. So just say we're gonna look at question 1, right? And let's say question 1 was 42 plus 37. Okay. So 42 plus 37, we found that that's 79, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the answer on one column. The answer is 79. On the other side, you're gonna upload a picture of your work. Okay. Now, the easiest way you can do it on the Google Slides, but the easiest way is to download the application for Google Slides, and then you're gonna open this. Okay. And you should be able to see. You should be able to add. There's an addition symbol at the top, and you're going to be able to add an image, and you take a picture of your work. It should automatically be uploaded on there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So pretty easy, right?
It's called. Do you download it on your phone?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Okay. You can also, if you want, you can come up here where it says insert, image, and then camera. Now I can't do it right now because we're using the camera for Zoom. Well, let me see if I can try it. Let me see if it works. Insert, image, camera. It's not working because we're using it for Zoom, but you should be able to. You should be able to. Once you choose that option, you'll be able to just like put it up to the camera like that, and you can just take a picture of it. Okay. and it'll upload directly onto the Google Slides. So pretty easy. Okay. Exactly, like how Steve was doing it. I don't know, he's doing that on
my bad.
purpose.
Let me do it. No, my bad.
Like he's doing it on purpose, but Steve, just put it up to the camera, take a picture of it, and then it should upload directly on there. Okay. So that's two different ways that you can do it. Maybe it's easier to just work it all out, put in the answers, and then upload the pictures at the end, right?
Okay.
So is that pretty clear? I'm gonna post the video of this anyway, so you guys can go back and see it, or you guys can ask me questions. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna upload a tutorial as well. So using the phone. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so right now at 9:45, the homework is going to be posted. Okay, you guys are already present for today. That homework will be due on Friday. Okay, and it's 10 problems, 5 addition, 5 subtraction. Make sure to show all of your work to be able to get full credit. Okay. You guys have any questions?
Anyway.
Are we gonna be having a Zoom call every day?
From Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna leave Fridays open because that's when the homework is due.
Okay.
It's always at the same time.
What if we show our whole paper of the whole, like, wait, never mind.
That's because we should do it individually, you know, just so you can see.
Wait, Steve, let me see that face.
Oh, this beautiful face? Oh, I can't right now. I'm not in my model look.
We are looking rough, Steve. Look at us.
All right, but if you guys don't have any other questions, then that's it for today, guys.
Okay.
I've done in 30 minutes, so that's good.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing schoolwork. I'm on school right now, Dad.
So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay?
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
Oh, where's the